All right, so back on the Packard here. I got some tools and parts came in. You'll see here that I already finished ridge reaming and deglazing these cylinders. I decided to use the ridge reamer. Here I am on hole number 8. The only reason why is the piston rings could grab a little bit of lip. The thing is, the pistons that came in the piston rings go 50 thousandths higher than the other rings. So I want to make sure that there was no transition there. I thought about sanding it a little bit, but the ridge reamer, I ended up having a lot of control on it. It's a new Lyle unit. It's the kind that comes down from the top. Works pretty good, just gotta take it easy with it. I measured up in the ridge area, and I modified this a little bit. I thought the angle at the top of the ridge was a little too aggressive on the tool, so I modified this little bumper stop on the bottom so that it would cut more true to the taper. So the taper is only about maybe a thou difference from bore there, so it's plenty fine. It's working really well. 3 bores are done. They look good. I am using a flex hone for this. Okay, so I got this one's 120, and I got this one here, which is 240, which is what the ring manufacturer recommends. So I clean them up quickly with the 120, maybe 9-10 strokes, and go back in with the 240 just to clean it up quick. It's working out really well. Like I said, I am on my 4th cylinder. I have a bunch of rag stuff in the bottom, and I use minimal oil, and everything's working out pretty good. So maybe I'll try a time lapse here, who knows, and we'll go from there. Yeah, the rods are done. The rods are modified. You'll see that in this video. And once I modified them for the thrust surface, which you'll see in the pictures, and then I need to go pick them up at the machine shop. They honed out the big ends to match the Chrysler bearings, and I also had the new wrist pin bushings put in and honed to the new wrist pins. So it should be good there. One cylinder has some little bit of blemishing on it. I don't think it's cracked. There was no evidence before. It's hard to say what it's from. I'm gonna go with it for now. I don't think it'll be an issue. It wasn't an issue before. I didn't magnaflux it, but I took a real good look at it, and I don't see any evidence of anything major. It's not even measurable. It's just visual. So we'll see. Who knows? But I'm pretty confident we're putting that together. That'll be fine. For what this, again, I'm not putting 50,000 miles a year on this car. If I can get 20,000 miles out of what I'm doing, I'll be thrilled, because that's about 20 years. I only put 1,000 miles a year on this car would be a lot. So I usually put 1,000 miles when I only had the maroon car. Now it's going to be split, so 500 miles a year. As long as it's reliable, that's great. That's where I'm going to go with this. Like I said, if it was measurable, if it was real bad, I would just, again, pull the block. But for right now, I'm going to go with it and see where it takes me. So we'll come back when this is getting ready to be assembled.
All right, so I didn't do a good job video or recording this, so you have to bear with my narration here. Here I am using the ridge reamer. This went really smooth. Again, I modified the ridge reamer to get less of an angle of cut on the cylinder. It ended up only being maybe a thousandths over the length, so difference from the top of the cylinder to where the ridge transition was. I was worried about it hitting that little area, but I didn't want to sand it either. So this did a really great job. I couldn't have been happier with the results. The trick is just to take your time. Here I am honing. These are flex hones. I went in with 120, then 180 per the ring manufacturer recommendations. This is not removing material. This is just getting that nice crosshatch. A little bit of tricks as far as getting the right speeds and feeds. But I got the nice 45-degree crosshatch. It worked out. It was pretty easy. I just got a little trial and error, but it worked out pretty well. Next on here is modifying the rods. So this is me cutting the built-up surface. I TIG welded these, or I had a buddy TIG weld these up with silicone bronze, and I had to go back in and add a little more myself, so I ended up TIG welding them myself. There's the built-up surface. Worked out really well. Stuck at low temperature. Not a lot of discoloration. I'm pretty confident with it. I couldn't have been happier with how these worked out. The trick with these that I found is give yourself a little clearance here. Don't go right to whatever the spec is in the book as far as to give yourself minimum clearance. make sure that you give yourself a little bit extra. I had to take these in and out a couple times because they were rubbing the sides a little bit. I didn't like that. So I ended up giving myself more clearance. It worked out well. You can easily sand that material off. It's not a big deal, but it's just easier to cut it when you can. So that's my recommendation there. I did not press in these bushings. I did mention to the shop that the bushings were offset from the factory, which they are. Some are offset forward, some are offset back. I think it's the odds and evens from what I saw, but I wasn't confident with that, so I had access to a wire EDM, so I just cut the bushings 5 thou extension on each side. So now they're hanging out 5 thou. They're not offset either way. I couldn't confirm this. I even emailed a couple of people. There was from the diagrams, I know they're offset. They were offset from the beginning. They're just not all offset the same way. Some are forward, some are back. So I just cut them 5 thou away from the rod, and it worked out fine. Here we are cutting the bearing anti-rotation tangs or the locating tangs into the rods. This went pretty smooth. Really simple setup on the Bridgeport. Got a right height clamp holding the rod down. The rod's being held parallel to the table with a parallel and a set of pins. Woodruff cutter, that was the right thickness. It worked out really well. That was probably the easiest part of the whole job. Again, they're not really super fussy. I didn't want to remove too much material, but it worked out really well. I did not get any shots of the assembly, unfortunately. But right now, here is the end result. It's running. It ran good. Started right up. Great oil pressure. I couldn't ask for more. I got a little engine detailing to do, but that's it. So, thanks for watching.